All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in to Baseball and Coffee, 10 a.m., Wednesday, April 8th. Yep, couple new graphics, couple new things coming our direction. Today, there's a new layout you'll see in a second. Working on getting that animated in a couple days. So, making some moves. Hope everybody is good. Good morning to everybody that is here. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, JT. Of course, Spectre. Victoria, Giants won. A's cracked Schlittler, but lost anyway. That is true. We're going to watch all that. We had a Huskies matchup last night, Northeastern Huskies. I know a lot of you people don't probably care, but that's where I went. Schlittler versus Civale. Pretty fun. We also had a full-on fight. We'll try to take a closer look at that if we can grab some angles somewhere. And yeah, we got a couple other things to watch. I think Sandy, Skenes, Yamamoto looked good. There's some others as well. So let's get into it. Let's get into everything today, folks. All right. See, there's the new screen, new layout here. I feel like it's pretty good. Okay, let's hit the standings, and then we'll go from there. All right. Yankees 8-2 after their comeback win versus the A's. Already a 3.5 game lead on the AL East. It's been a tough go at the start for the Jays and the Red Sox, no doubt about it. Orioles 5-6, Rays 5-6, Jays 4-7, Sox 3-8. AL Central, Guardians 7-5, Royals 5-6, Twins 5-6, Tigers and White Sox both 4-7. In the West, 6-5 Rangers, 500 for the Angels and Astros, 4-8 Mariners. That's a very disappointing early start for the Mariners season, and A's 3-7. I feel like the A's have been in a lot of games, but their pitching has kind of let them down, especially late in games. In the East, Mets continue to play well. They've won 4 in a row. They're 7-4. Braves 7-5. They were in the Brawl last night. Ronaldo Lopez versus Jorge Soler, ex-Brave. Phillies 6-5, Marlins 6-5, Nationals 4-7 in the Central. Reds and Brew Crew 8-3 each. Reds have won 5 in a row. Pirates 7-4, Cardinals 6-5, Cubbies 5-6. So I don't know. In a way, the NL Central has been very strong in the early going here. If you look at run differential, every team's in the positive except for the Cardinals, and they have a winning record. In the West, 4-game lead already for the Dodgers, 9-2, as they are beating up on the poor Blue Jays right now. They've won 5 in a row. Padres 5-6, Daybacks 5-6, Rock Show 5-6, who they won last night. I might even want to sneak a peek at Freeland pitching at Coors, and then Giants 4-8. So again, most impressive teams so far. I mean, not a very big sample yet, but Dodgers, Yankees. Definitely, I think the NL Central in general, Reds, Brewers, Pirates, I would say. Mets have looked good. Braves have been good despite some of their injuries. Other than that, nobody's really standing out in terms of disappointments. So far, Jays, Sox, I guess Tigers you could loop in, Mariners, A's, Cubbies a little bit, although 5-6, it's hard to get disappointed, and definitely Giants. So anyway, let's hit the solo for a moment, and then we're going to get going. Should we do Brawl first and then watch baseball? Or what are we thinking here? Any chance we could watch no Blue Jays? It hurts too bad already. Sorry, JT, we're probably going to watch Yamamoto, but we'll see. He's not going to be right off the rip, but pretty good chance. Cam's velocity was down, I'm assuming, because of the cold weather. We're also going to check in on that. Clayton should have left Sandy out there. Feels like a lesson he should have learned with LA. Definitely going to... I haven't watched any of that. I was getting ready to having to make another Sandy throws back-to-back Maddox videos, but then he didn't get it in the 9th. So curious to watch that. I haven't seen any of that yet. Go Mets. You're going to break down the fight? Yes, I am going to break down the fight. Brawl first. Need the all of it. All right. Well, one question here quick. GM Adam question: how long is the Trent Grisham leash as a leadoff hitter? His OPS dropped to 5.6. So I think he's still got leash right now, but you do see that the Yankees are already making some moves. They're not going to leave wins on the table early in the season. Like they played Rosario over McMahon yesterday. That obviously played out pretty well. So things can change really quickly. I mean, I think Ben Rice might be moving into a potential leadoff situation, considering how good he looks. But you also want somebody behind Judge. I don't know. Grisham's main carrying tool is on base percentage, and so we'll see, you know, his strike zone judgment. We'll see how that manifests itself. But yeah, he's had obviously situations where he cannot be batting a leadoff in the past, so we'll see. All right, let's go see if we can't grab this Brawl real quick. Some highlights. Jorge Soler versus Ronaldo Lopez. I don't know if there's any background with these two guys, you know, if there's anything going on here between the two of them, but it was a very interesting brawl. I'm also probably going to hit YouTube for this one because I want to get all the angles, and I don't think we're going to have everything on here. But let's see if we have anything on the highlights here. Okay. All right, so kind of I mean, everybody's seen the highlight by now. There was a pitch here that was way up and in right here. Soler immediately is already staring and not happy about it, but Lopez doesn't even know that we're in a fight yet. And then Jorge says something to him. Lopez challenges him, and here comes Soler, and some major bombs were at least attempted in here. Now, neither guy really got anything great off. A lot of head down, flailing. But you know what's crazy, and I saw this on a highlight earlier. Watch Lopez. He never takes the ball out of his hand. And so he actually hits him with the ball at one point. The one clean shot he gets, he kind of it's right here. Hits Soler like kind of like in the neck area with a hand with a ball in it. So we'll continue to watch this. Both bullpens empty. I always thought this was funny. It's like, do we just start fighting in the outfield? How does this work? Walt Weiss had to tackle Soler in this one as well. And Walt's strong as shit, trains like jiu-jitsu and that type of stuff. A lot of standing around. Anyway, here we go. You see Soler's already mad, even though this play continued. He gives a whole look at it, and then he says something, and then just decides it's on. I don't know. I can't think to myself if these guys ever played together. I don't think so. So I'm not sure. Mitch says the background is Soler's hitting .591 with an 1850 OPS versus him in 22 at-bats. So there's some thought that he's hitting him because of that. And then he also gets hit earlier in the game. Okay, so this is what it is. He hits him earlier in the game. That pisses him off. And then later he goes and gets him. They were teammates in Atlanta. Lopez was already in Atlanta by the time Soler got there. I thought Lopez was like on the trade market. And then, like, remember there was the year that a couple guys got traded off the White Sox, but then they also got waived at the end of, it was like Giolito and Lopez, and they ended up, and Matt Moore. I think they ended up playing for like 3 different teams. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about that, but something like that. They went to the Angels, and then they were like released again. All right, hold on. We're gonna go to YouTube. We're gonna do the Inception thing. Jorge Soler fight. Maybe we'll get a better angle here.
Look at all the time that evaporated here. Just staring at each other.
So they're just kind of jawing at each other. And then it looks like, I mean, I don't know. We got a Cuban and a Dominican, I believe, right? That's what we got going on. I find it funny. He also homered in his first at-bat, Soler, and then got hit the second at-bat. Okay, you can kind of see then why he might have been a little agitated. You can kind of see why then. Okay. Let me go back to that. Angels. Yeah, so he hit first pitch home run here.
He's saying, go to, bring him here.
There's a drive out to the left field corner. Dubon's after it, but it's gone. Jorge Soler.
So in his mind, he's like, I own this dude. I'm raking. I'm hitting homers. 109. And then second at bat. He ends up getting hit on the 5th pitch of this at bat. Curveball. Curveball.
Immediately on the field.
Oh yeah, Soler was briefly back with the Braves from the Marlins, maybe? I get all this timeline confused. A lot of these guys have moved around a lot. Curveball, and then he goes ahead and hits some 2-2, and so obviously he's not happy about that. He's still pissed off about that when the incident happens in that next one. Now, one thing that I thought was funny when we go back to the highlight here, and you watch the whole thing again. Watch Shanuel, because he's like trying to like break things up here. He's the dude here on second base, but he doesn't do anything. Watch, he runs in like he's gonna do something. Watch Shanuel. He's like, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna do something. I'm not doing anything. Somebody grab me. Somebody grab me. And now he's hugging. Now he's hugging a guy. I mean, he was definitely afraid to get in between these two dudes. Watch him again, number 18. But for the most part, your job in a situation like this is to stop it. You don't go in there trying to throw bombs. You try to stop it. You see Hefner in there trying to stop it. I don't know, but it's an interesting scenario. I want to see if I can get a good look at the Walt Weiss. I'm watching all sorts of videos that are whatever, but we'll get to it.
On the third,
Let's see if this one has any additional info from the side angles. Oh, here's a good side angle.
Baseball still in his hand.
Soler in the top of then look, he's got the ball in his hand, which honestly, I don't know how he doesn't break his fingers doing this. I hope we don't find out that his fingers are broken.
Yeah, hard to see whether or not if
Somewhere in here, Walt takes down Soler right here. There it is. Oh yeah, tackles him to the ground. That was Walt. Little ground takedown. And yeah, Walt used to he has an MMA background. He used to clear out his hotel, all the furniture in the hotel suite, and just practice MMA stuff all day. So as a competitive fighter, I find these fights are hilarious. Huge, scary dudes with no clue how to throw a punch just filling around. Totally true. I agree with that 100%. I'll just continue to play this in the background, the whole thing, while I answer some questions. One thing about this, I will say, though, that makes it a little crazy in a brawl situation is you have a lot of fear about sucker punches and people coming in from the left and the right. A lot of the worst injuries that have happened in brawls like this are things that are unexpected, like the Mike Morse, Jeff Samardzija collision and that Hunter Strickland fight with Bryce Harper. Johnny Cueto kicking his way out of the brawl that I've talked about that I was at back in 2010. Jason LaRue got kicked. That kind of ended his career with a concussion. I've been in brawls where you have one rogue person just doing something crazy. So like that's part of the reason why it's so sloppy. But yeah, you're right. Not a lot of structure, not a lot of fighting experience. Bad job by Heim not getting in there fast enough as well. Heim did not do his job here. Now watch Heim, he's the catcher. As the brawl begins, he tries to grab Soler a little bit from behind, but he doesn't really do much. He just kind of gives up right there. You got to bear hug that guy. I know you might get clipped with an elbow, but technically that's your job, is to stop it, right? So I don't know. Pretty crazy to me. They were roommates, they were roomies, so this is something else is going on. Jonah wasn't trying to get involved. Soler signed with the Giants before going to the Braves. See, I get confused about the whole timeline. Trout pushing Lopez away. Trout did a good job. He calmed him down pretty quick. I thought the Shanuel thing was the best. He literally did nothing. Catcher looking like oh shit and fake running. Old school tackle by Walt. He did get low. You got to get low in the Oklahoma drill. Archie Bradley breaking his arm going over the dugout fence. So there's a lot of things that can happen. So you got to be careful. And ultimately, most of the guys don't want to fight. I can't tell you how many times we've been emptying out of the bullpen, and I'm like, I just don't care about this. People are mad, but nobody's going to do anything. So of course, you want to try to course, you want to try to, you know, get in there and break it up, but sometimes it's just like, why are we even out here? So, pretty crazy. Oh, it's a Vine reference, sorry. Albies calmed Soler ex-teammates. Walt Weiss via Suffer, New York. That's right. Walt Weiss. Then he was a Tar Heel, I believe, and then eventually first-round pick. Played for the A's, Rockies, Braves. He's managed two of those teams, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I don't think Jonah was expecting that to happen. All right, so I don't really have a whole lot on the Brawl. I mean, we'll see if there's suspensions levied, how this all plays out. You know, I was talking about potential fireworks in the Contreras situation yesterday, and then this one ended up having to happen. Can we see one of the fights you had to run out for? Okay. This one is the famous one where Nolan charges the mound in Colorado. Arenado charges the mound. I was here for this one. This one was good right here. Me and Wade Davis and Brian Shaw come flying down from inside to get involved in this. I mean, this one had a little bit of everything, except he doesn't really get him. But he wanted to get him. He just couldn't quite get to him. And then, man, this one was spicy, though. A lot of people yelling at each other. There was some real anger involved in this. I think Herman Marquez came over the top, snapping towels. Parra was pissed. They had some pissed guys. Obviously, Nolan was heated. McGuire's trying to calm him down. Cargo thinks it's funny. Trust me, Cargo thinks it's funny right here. So this was a whole event. This was one of them. The other one that was really crazy that I just mentioned was let me see if I can find it. Brandon Phillips, Yadier Molina. Here it is. This one. This was like my second week in the big leagues. Gotta wait for the ad here, but this was like my second week in the big leagues. Brandon Phillips comes up. They start talking shit to each other about something that he said in the paper. Next thing you know, we're brawling. And there was a lot of anger in this moment. Scott Rowland was super pissed. He was getting in it with Tony. We had so much testosterone flying around in this one. Dusty was pissed at Tony. Tony was pissed at Dusty. They were yelling at each other. And eventually you're going to see this whole pile gets kind of out of hand. And it moves very, very strongly to the netting where it gets kind of out of control. And Johnny Cueto has to kind of kick his way out. Or it doesn't have to kick his way out, but he does. And Carpenter gets crushed, LaRue gets crushed, and this one ended up being pretty ugly. But watch it right here. Roland and Dusty, these two guys are really going at it, Dusty and Tony. And then all of a sudden, it's a large mass of humanity. And I don't know where I'm at. I'm in the peripheral here, because remember, this is only the beginning of my career, and I was scared to death in this moment. Yeah, here's where the whole pile moves. You see this? It gets driven to the fence, and now it got real sketchy in this moment. And Johnny Cueto's pinned against the wall, and now he's kicking. And yeah, I mean, it got really bad. It got really bad. Skip's trying to go after him. And this was like, I was like, man, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready for this big league stuff. This was a crazy. This was a crazy one. All right, so those are the two most memorable. I mean, there was others. We cleared a lot of times, but not a lot of actual punches being thrown over the years. You know, but they can be scary just because there's so many people out there, and you never know what's going to happen. Forget a Pitbull when you can have Weiss. That's true. What's the snapping towel thing? I don't know. At some point, Marquez came over the top with a towel, and he's like hitting people with a towel. It's so stupid. But that happened at one point. Bill Spaceman Lee, during the fight triggered by a home plate collision, Yankees third baseman Greg Nettles tackled Lee, leading to a separated left shoulder for the pitcher. So yeah, you don't want any of that stuff to happen, obviously. But it does. But it does happen from time to time throughout the season. You know, people get testy. That's how it goes. All right. Where are we at? What's today, the 8th? All right, what did I want to watch first? I think I want to do my Husky Showdown first. Schlittler versus Civale, and then we'll look at those Rosario at-bats. Yankees end up coming up on top with a comeback. I think they came back against Mark Leiter. Yankee from last year, yeah, 4 earned runs. He got clipped for the home run. So that's a tough. I mean, this is tough. He's still feeling it today, 100%. Anyway, we'll look at both of these guys, both Huskies first. First, I'm going to watch Civale, actually, as he is the craftiest of the crafty. That's his whole entire approach out there. A lot of backdoor cutters to lefties as the two Huskies go at each other. Civale, 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. Did get clipped for a home run. Cutter, I mentioned that's his jam. It's no long. He never really threw hard, but he's definitely throwing not fast at all anymore. 91.1 average sinker speed. Anyway, Cutter, 86 miles an hour was the primary pitch. Here, 26 cutters, 21 sinkers, 18 curveballs, 10 fastballs, 9 sliders, 4 splits. All right, let's just see. Yankees and A's. A's are in New York for a while. A's are here to play the Yankees and then the Mets back-to-back series. So they just like post up in the hotel for an entire year. All right, here's the aforementioned Trent Grisham rolling over a middle cutter for the first out of this game. I do think, the Yankees, one thing about the Yankees is they don't give you an infinite sample size. By the time, it becomes clear they have to make moves, they're going to make moves. I think, Trent's getting paid a lot of money. He's going to be the center fielder, but in terms of where he's going to be in the lineup, I think if he's not getting on base, they will rectify that quickly. Here's a backdoor sinker strikeout of Judge. And here's going to be a 3-2 front door sinker strikeout of Belly to get out of the first. How did I miss something? How's there a runner on base?
The catcher is challenging.
Well, the catcher's challenging on the tee.
You can see that was a strike. What did I miss here? Oh, there was catcher's interference. So he struck out, but that was catcher's interference. That sucks. All right, then a walk, and then he's going to punch out Stanton to end the first inning. Let's watch the whole at-bat for Stanton. There's that cutter, middle. Sinker in, good pitch off that, and then slider off of that line. Should get the chase away. And he does. That's good pitching right there. One thing about Civale, he can really pitch. Like, you got to be able to pitch with the stuff he's got. All right, second inning, strikeout versus Jazz. Another front door attempt. Ooh, that's dirty. That's 20 inches to the right. And this is like why freezing guys become so important, because over time, you're not going to get as much swing and miss, but you can try to get more freeze. He does get the swing and miss here, but it's just a perfectly executed pitch. This is going 21 to the right and still staying up at 11. So that is a runner. And it's a good thing it stayed up because he swung under it. Nice pitch. All right, here's the homer. First one by Rosario. So Rosario ends up getting the start at third over McMahon in this game and comes through massive with 2 home runs. First one is a first pitch sinker that he demolishes to left. They're going to show Booney now because he made that call. 105 at 33, so pretty sick. Comes in right away and goes yard. First game back. Bang. Quick hands. Mets fans will remember, this guy was a massive prospect when he came up. Huge tools. Hasn't necessarily translated into being the player that everybody thought, but doesn't mean he's not useful. Very useful. Crushes lefties. Versatile on defense. Good base runner. All right, here's a walk to Wells. And here's a strikeout of Caballero. Fastball up above the zone. Fastball to Grisham. So, man, another very hittable pitch. So, yeah, Grisham hasn't looked great in this game. Got 2 pitches to hit, both harmless outs. Third inning. Curveball to Judge. He's got a very slow curveball. 3,000 RPM. This is one of his superpowers. If you're going to throw slow, you better have something good. He's got that big-time curveball. Cutter to Bellinger. Loves that backdoor cutter. Gets him off the edge just out in front.
to right field.
Popped it up to Lawrence. Wow, it looks cold out there. I guess it was cold last night. Curveball here for a ball to Rice. That's a good take. Curveball here to Stanton. Get him off the end. Good launch angle, but definitely off the end. What did he hit that? 83? Good job through 3. Here's a splitty to Jazz. Ooh, the squirrel. Nice play. I like how he slid this like a goal. He kicks out the leg to keep it in front in case. Knocks it down. Knows he has time. Throws him out. Nice play by Jeff. Here's a 3-pitch strikeout of Caballero, who has definitely struggled to start the season. Yankees have been incredible, but if you look at the bottom 3 of the order, they have been really poor. Ooh, dirty pitch, and Wells is going to be wrong here.
The pitch is called a strike. The hitter is challenging.
Oh, he can't believe it. I mean, that barely touches, but holy cow, what a pitch by Civale here. 92.5, 18.4 to the right, still stays up at 12.4. I do think with the ABS, pitches like this are maybe a little more valuable because, again, that pickup point being back a little bit, you know, allows this ball to shave into the zone. I think if this is the front, this is a ball because it's still too high, but it just comes down just enough to clip the threshold midway. It's kind of what I'm looking at from that one. All right, here's a hit by Caballero. So that's the big thing with the Yankees right now, just trying to figure out their bullpen mix and then also the bottom of the order. You know, Caballero is definitely making it easy for them to just install Volpe back in there when he comes back because he has not been great, although there's a double. And then McMahon, you know, he's always great on defense, but if he's not going to hit, they're going to find a combination that works there as well. Because, you know, they don't sit with weaknesses for long. That's popped up. Here's a ball to Judge. 3-1 in this spot. You definitely don't try to challenge Judge. He's the tying run. Now, I know that puts the winning run at the plate, but you can't mess with Judge in that spot once you fall behind. Splitter here to Cody. Ground ball. They'll just get the 1. And then his last batter here is Ben Rice. This is a big spot. And Crazy just beats him with a heater down the middle. Now, he does get exceptional ride. 20 inches of ride. So one thing about Civale is he has maxed movement in every plane, which I think is maximally, you know, huge when you don't have a lot of speed. So great job by him to show up in the Husky Showdown and put his best foot forward. You can see metrically he's got some interesting pitches. 4-seam averaged 19 vert yesterday, so that's good. And on the flip side of that, the curveball's got negative 14 vert, so now you're talking, oh, geez, I don't know, 25 inches of separation, almost. Like, that's big. Cutter being the primary pitch, and sinker, he's using those to go from ball to strike, so you see how that works. Looking to pick up freezes left and right, and then splitter is his get you on the ground pitch, especially from lefties. So this is like a blueprint if you want to be a big league starter and you don't have great physical ability to throw hard. You can do it with this type of formula. A good pitch mix and a good idea of how to use it. So that's what Civale does, and that's why he's making good money pitching in the big leagues still. All right, on the other side, Schlittler had his first start where he gave up some runs. Now, the thing that's encouraging to me is that he still didn't walk anybody, and he still basically poured everything in the strike zone, which is gonna work for him long term. That approach that he's got going on right now is money. And occasionally you're going to get hit, but you force the opponent to beat you. You're not going to beat yourself. What was Cam's final line? Let me go back to his box score before I look at his breakdown. Cam was 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, no walks. Once again, 7 strikeouts. He's now got a 1.62 on the season, so this did not slow him down at all. He's right on track. 32 sinkers, 24 fastballs, 24 cutters. This is that 3 fastball approach. Velocity seems to be down about a little more than half a mile an hour yesterday, but that doesn't mean much. He's still throwing with pretty high octane. I actually don't mind it at this time of year to not be velo maxing. And then curveball, only 4 curveballs all game. So only 4 off-speed pitches all game. 4 pitches that don't average 93 or above all game. So it's an interesting combination. Should lend himself to going deep into ball games. When things are right, he could be in that Sandy situation. All right, what's in the chat here before I start going here? Feels like Rosario was a Met a lifetime ago. Yep. We'll get to Mark. I saw that he got mad about not being high leverage, and then he immediately, karma got him immediately with those comments because the universe has a very funny sense of humor. Caballero's been tough so far. Cold in the Bronx. I think that's a big part of it is the cold. And I saw this in the game that I did on Sunday night as well. When it's cold, we're going to go with Cam right now. When it's cold, and you're going to just spam fastballs that get off the barrel, it's almost even better for you because guys don't want to get blown up and hard pitches are going to hurt the most. And if you spam fastballs on both sides of the plate and you have good command with unpredictable movement, you're just going to get even weaker contact and more timid swings in the cold. So don't give him something juicy like a breaking ball down the middle. All right, Nick Kurtz, he's going to start off this game with a punch out on a cutter, 94.7. Catches him looking at the top of the zone. His cutter is special. Here's a 3-pitch strikeout of Langoliers with a 98.8 backdoor sinker. Let's watch this at-bat because this is vicious. 4-seam up, swing through, cutter away, swing through, and then he gets the full menu. Backdoor sinker at 99. I mean, damn, he came out chucking in this game. So 3 up, 3 down in the first. Soderstrom out on a cutter as well, under a 95-mile-an-hour cutter. I really like this approach. I mean, every now and then he is going to get hit, but he's not walking. I don't think he has a walk on the season yet. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a pretty high floor way to pitch. 0-2 sinker. How's your knuckles feel there? Not good, I promise. As he gets derailed by this 97-mile-an-hour sinker riding in.
Shattered bat.
All right, next batter. Called strike 3. Backdoor sinker to Wilson. Yep, you bet. Dotted and a nice K strut. Ooh, he says something. What does he say? What do you say, Cam? Ooh, yo, he was fired up. Watch him in the corner here. Raw. He got a nice roar right there. Gotta love that. So he was feeling it early. All right, 3 up, 3 down in the second. Lawrence Butler. That's a sinker, I believe. Interesting that he went sinker there. Lines it out to Cody. So 3 up, 3 down. And now we are on to the third where he did give up some runs. So let's see exactly what happens here. Let's watch this whole inning. First pitch strike. Now to the cutter. This is Max Muncy at the plate. No relation to the other Max Muncy. So away. His sinker's nasty. Running in. That's 19 inches. Maybe there was some wind at Yankee Stadium last night. All right, so a lucky hit there. Can't fault Cam for that. That's just making contact. If anything, you could say maybe it's a bad decision with 2 strikes to go to a contact pitch. And now the Squirrel. Good swing on a cutter, and that's a lot slower of a cutter than his others. 91-3, so just trying to get back in the count here on one of his only 1-0s, and doesn't get the cutter to the right location. That's kind of middle. Jeff knows what to do with that. So first and second. And now we have Denzel Clark. Looks like they're gonna try to bunt. Foul there.
Because it might be a hit too. Bunt it. And it rolls. And
man, almost perfect, but foul there. Ooh, drop glove at second here? No. Just a regular. Sinker here. Ball. All right, so he gets the job done with a 2-strike bunt. Great job by Denzel Clark hanging in there. So second and third, 1 out. Back to the top of the order, and Nick Kurtz punched him out on a high cutter looking the first time. Oh, God, doesn't fire at a heater right down the middle, first pitch. Second pitch. up high. Third pitch. Good pitch to hit, but it shows you how that heater is playing and the lack of fear that Cam possesses. Because I would not have thrown it. This pitch right here is, I mean, I know it's a foul ball, but God, this is a risky pitch to Nick Kurtz.
1-2.
Tries to just doors him. Man, probably just too many heaters here. And yeah, and that one, finally he's on time. You can't throw Nick Kurtz that many fastballs. I know to this point he had been basically untouchable. But that's a poor sequence and a 115.1 mile an hour double for the first runs that he's allowed on the season. Yeah, I mean, it's just too many fastballs in a row in my mind, and this pitch doesn't get up very high. But Kurtz is a great hitter, so smashes that. He does come back to get a punch out here of Shea. Let's see, cutter, middle, strike, sinker. I love cutter, first pitch cutter, and then sinker. Those two pitches have enough contrast. That's really good. Sinker here, pulled foul. Swing and strike cutter, probably up away or down away. Up away. Nasty. His cutter is, I mean, I still think he pitched great in this game from what I'm seeing. Okay, they're going to get a run here too. Let's watch this at bat. Soderstrom. First pitch curveball, strike. So that's the first off-speed pitch I've seen the whole game. Four-seam down, which you're going to get a take off the curveball. 0-2. He has great strike-throwing ability for his size. I would say uncanny strike-throwing ability for his build. Tries the front door sinker. Soderstrom fights. Four-seam coming. Soderstrom fights. What does he give it up on? A curveball? This is another poor read by the Yankees here. He was clearly late on the fastballs, and if you're going to throw a breaking ball there, you have to throw it for chase. Keeps it in the zone, and he's on time for that, for a hit. Poor reading of the at-bat, in my opinion, here by the Yankees here. Here, watch. Here's the 1-2 sinker. He's under that, correct? Under it and late? Yep, under it and late. And it's a sinker with 11.5 vert, right? Next pitch is a four-seam. This one has 19 vert. And guess what? He's under it and late. So to me, this pitch is still safe. This is still safe. You could throw a four-seam higher. You just got him to fire at 2 in a row. You could go up here anywhere. You still have a 1-2 count, so you have count leverage. If you're gonna throw a curveball here, and I'm not totally against it, even though I think the timing shows you that I'm reading this correctly, you got to throw it in the ground. Got to throw it in the ground. But instead, you know, and this is very common. Sometimes it's not always the pitch; it's the execution. Leaves it in a hittable spot, and then Soderstrom's on time for it. So, to me, they should have thrown another fastball up to reinforce that. See if you can't get a guy in swing mode to swing. But that was a mistake. That was a mistake there, and that cost him. I think the two mistakes on the hits, you know, Kurtz, it's too many fastballs, and then the last one being more hittable than the previous ones. And this one, it's just not seeing the swings a little bit. So anyway, those are the 3 runs, and then it looks like he's going to get out his last out of the third here. Gets Rooker out twice with sinkers. Nice play by Rosario there. All right, 4th inning. I think he pitches pretty well the last 2 innings, so I'll just go quickly. Sinker here, good coverage. Strikeout on a 4-seam to Lawrence Butler here. Up top, tough pitch to lay off of. I feel you, bro. Tough pitch to lay off of. And then a 1 pitch out here, right on right with the sinker. Ground ball to short. There's Caballero. All right, 5th inning. Gives up a hit here to McNeil. So McNeil 2 for 2 off Cam. Both pitches in the exact same spot. They are different pitches. One was a cutter, one was a sinker, but same type of swing. Good to see that Jeff swing. When Jeff's right, this is what the batted ball should look like. Low liners. That way, Jeff. All right, and then a strikeout here of Denzel Clark. And geez, he missed that by a lot. I mean, oh my God, look where the bat is. Look where the ball is. Denzel not seeing the movement on that pitch, missing it by a good 2.5 baseballs. Crazy. All right, next. 1 pitch out to Kurtz on a sinker. Man, bad swing by Kurtzy there. Almost a double play. And then last batter, he'll get a strikeout of Shea. So he dominated Langoliers. Gets him twice to chase up and away. All in all, I think he pitched great. I mean, yeah, he gave up the runs in the third inning. But if you look at the chain of events in the third inning, it's an infield hit that got it started. It's a poor location to McNeil mistake down the middle on a cutter that he could handle, and it wasn't as fast. Then a bad reading of the at-bat versus Kurtz, and then just a mistake down the middle. And then a very poor reading of the at-bat versus Soderstrom. But at the end of the day, if you're going to make the mistake of being in the strike zone versus out of the strike zone, I want you in the strike zone, especially with Cam's stuff. And long-term, he could just keep doing what he's been doing, and he's going to dominate most games. Still give him a chance to win, obviously, as they ended up winning. 38% whiff is crazy when you're just spamming hard stuff. He got 56% whiff on his cutter yesterday, which is wild for me to see. Still threw 75% first pitch strikes. He's doing a lot right. Like a lot right. So if you're a Yankee fan, feel good about Schlittler. It's just funny, the contrast between Schlittler and Civale right now, the two Huskies that I wanted to check in on. You know, one guy's pitching with absolute gasoline in the strike zone and 3 variations, and he's just trying to scatter shot in the zone, basically read at bats and stay off the barrel and basically challenge you to come to his level. And then the other guy, Civale, is like sticking and moving, nibbling, throwing backdoor pitches, front door pitches, changing speeds, and trying to rely on high spin rate with his curveball to get out. So 2 different ways to do it. Both of them pitched pretty well yesterday. And I just love that fact that in baseball you can do it 2 different ways. All right, Ahmed Rosario had the big at-bats in this game. But I want to watch the comeback off of Mark Leiter Jr. here in the 8th inning as all the way up to the home run, as this won the game for them. So let's see the quality of the Yankee at-bats that grind down Mark, or if Mark just had a tough day. First pitch curveball just down. Second pitch sinker here. Just down again, 2-0, and now here comes a cutter. As you guys know, I've talked about it a lot. Not a big fan of using a cutter as a contact pitch right on left if you don't have a good cutter, and to me, this is not a good cutter. 6.9 inches of induced vertical break, so it's pretty flat, nothing special to it in terms of rise or drop, and it has barely any movement. So it's kind of just a bad fastball, and it's 89.3. And if you throw this pitch middle of the zone, the guys are going to be on time for it, and that's what you see here. Cody smashes this first hit of the inning. 103.4. All right, next batter up is Mr. Ben Rice, first pitch sinker. So I know what you're thinking here, Mark. You're thinking I'm going to get him on the ground for a double play. First pitch sinker probably goes to the split. Yep, split next. Again, he's thinking double ground ball, ground ball, ground ball. Doesn't budge on that. Now he's going to go back to the cutter. Again, not in love with this. It's not fast enough to get a swing and miss there. He's able to fist it out into the outfield. Now we have first and third. Good swing by Ben Rice here. Actually gets this to a good location. Not that he's trying to do this, but again, it's not fast enough to really blow him up. So Ben flips it in there. First and third, no outs. Now, if you're pitching in this spot, what do you think to yourself, right? This was my job, right? 8th inning, you come in, protecting a 2-run lead. In my opinion, the proper way to think about this outing in this moment is to not give a shit about the run on third. You need to maintain the lead here. So you have to say, I have to maintain this runner on first. I have to get an out here and not allow that runner on first to advance to second for free. I'll trade it for an out, like a sac fly or something, or a ground ball. I would love a ground ball double play here, but the bottom line is I'm ignoring the runner on third. I'm not trying to punch my way out of this. I'm just trying to pitch. So let's see how he goes. Next up is Stanton, especially with Stanton at the plate. I'm thinking to myself, I can easily get a ground ball. Ooh, weird swing there. I can easily get a double play here, but if he ends up getting out with a fly ball, I'm okay with it too. So I just know I have to buckle down. Don't nibble too hard here. All right, in play run. Sinker, sinker, slider. Oh my God, and a very weird contact, but just a poor execution. He's trying to go down and away here. See the catcher, Shea. I mean, he's over here, so he wants this ball to come here. And this ball backed up crazy. What is the metric on this? All right, so it didn't really move much. Check it out. Check it out. Check it. Tatsuya Imai back up. Stanton hits it, but slices it. And then you see this batted ball is super weird as it jukes. It jukes Wilson and gets into center for a hit. So kind of weird there, but he's gotten victimized bad in like 1-1 counts so far. All right, next batter, Jazz Chisholm. So now you've got first and second, no outs, 1 run in. Now you're in a spot where you have to grind really hard to get through this inning if you're the pitcher. My mindset would be don't let them double steal, get an out here. So even if they do end up second and third with 1 out, then I just need 1 strikeout to be able to maybe spit the bit here. But you can't let them get to second and third with no outs. So watch out for the double steal, don't throw any wild pitches, and really just make sure you get this batter out. And now he ends up in 3-2, which makes it tough. Because now everything's in play. Goes with the sinker. Jazz going to hit a little bloop hit. No, Denzel comes on for the catch. Nice play. All right, so that's a good scenario. They're not able to advance. What happened to Jazz here? Did he fall down? Don't know. All right, next batter. And here it is. Here's Rosario. So Rosario homered on a first pitch sinker, first at bat. First pitch, 4-seam up and away, clearly late, also telling you he wants to swing. One thing about Rosario has always been exceptionally aggressive. So if you're pitching in this spot, especially once you get to 0-1, now you have to immediately expand. He's telling you he wants to swing. So let's see what happens here. It's a split. Does he just hang it? Yeah, he just hangs it. And again, like he was late on that fastball up and away. If you're going to throw a split, you're expecting a swing. You got to be for chase. He just throws it down the middle, and this ball's crushed, and this was an electric moment. That ball was murdered. And a great pimp job. I mean, just talk about knowing it off the bat. Oof. He did. He put that really on the tee. He did. He put it right on the tee. But credit to Rosario. Rosario wanted to be aggressive this whole game, and it paid off. And, you know, Leiter just made some mistakes. He really got in trouble in the mid-count in this whole inning. Did a decent job getting ahead of some guys, but made some really big mistakes with off-speed pitches. And if you're going to make mistakes, I think you'd rather make them with some fastballs sometimes to these Yankees because they are really good at hitting medium-speed pitches in the middle. And that kind of defined the game. I'm curious about Rosario. What did he do in his second at-bat? Because this is something I would always pay attention to. How aggressive was he overall? There's an auto take. Here's a take as well. So first at bat, he swings at the first pitch and gets a hit. Then he goes double take here and ends up striking out. So to me, that would mean if I'm watching it from the stands, like, oh, I expect him to stay aggressive because that did not go well. So, yep, sure enough, he swings at the first pitch here for a double play off Sterner. But two out of the first 3 at bats, he swung and was aggressive. I would have expected swings. I think that's the biggest thing sometimes when you're a pitcher. Like, do you expect to take? Do you expect to swing? Where's the hitter at? With Rosario, you always have to expect to swing. So that's my read on that. Let's get in the chat here. We got a lot here in the chat. I have to back up a little bit here. Did you see the ump telling Civale to challenge it when he complained? I love that. It's a great answer by the umpire. Like, you can't complain to me anymore when you have the ability to challenge. If you don't like it, challenge it if you're so confident. So I thought that was a great clapback by the umpire. You know, I'm not always team umpire, but I thought that was a great clapback. That happened in yesterday's game. I'm not sure which inning that was, but that happened. If you can redraft, do you pick Cam or Nolan McLean? So I'm still on Team McLean. I think McLean still has better tools to work with out there on the mound than Cam, and I actually don't think it's that close. But the strike throwing ability and the velocity and the 3 fastball approach for Cam does tell me that he could maybe be just as effective in the short term, or he's closing the gap quite a bit And he might be able to pitch more innings. You know, he might be able to go deeper into games. You know, we've seen a lot of the strategy versus Nolan McLean so far is like, just don't swing. He's too nasty. You can't do that against Schlittler. He is pounding the zone. I think he has no walks on the season. So I'm still McLean, but it's getting closer. Wait, you're an MLB pitcher. Yes, I sure was. Thank you, JJ Hunting Club, for being here. Never throw weak off speed to a lefty. Brazo made the same mistake. It's just poor reading of the at-bat, and that at-bat Leiter versus, Cam versus Soderstrom. Does it feel worse getting beat on your worst pitch versus your best pitch? Yes, because you're always going to feel like, man, why am I relying on one of my worst pitches? I need to pitch off my best stuff, pitch off my strength. So yeah, typically you get beat on your not your main pitch. Overall, that can be harder to swallow, but sometimes like you had a real reason for it. I always felt like if you had a real reason to be convicted in your choice, you can live with the results. All right, what else we got here? With Stanton, though, wouldn't punching your way out be quite possible? Yes. To review what I was saying in the Stanton at-bat, JT, pre-2 strikes, you're trying to get Stanton on the ground. I think if you go for strikeout mode from pitch 0, you might end up in a 2-0 or 3-0 or 3-1 count. That's the danger of doing that because you're nibbling. And with Stanton, he's usually looking for one thing, so that makes him take sometimes. And then he can get himself in a good count, and now you're in deep shit. So I think you have to attack him in that spot, looking to get a ground ball. He can't run, obviously. That's a double play. But if you get to 2 strikes, absolutely go for the punch out there. So I think you're right, but in the order of operations, you still got to get to 2 strikes first. Pimping that home run before it even went fair, that could have been embarrassing. Yeah, I just think, imagine the electricity that goes through your body when you know you connected on home run distance in a huge moment. Like it's electric through your body. And that's why I never get mad at guys who pimp home runs in big spots. It's like, of course, you're excited. Adam, did the D-backs call you? Absolutely not. How would I rank Burns, Miz, and McLean? Okay, at the moment, McLean number 1. I think I like Burns number 2, Miz number 3. I understand that Miz has the best velocity of the group and he's special in his own right. But I like what Chase Burns is starting to become. I think his slider is better than Miz's. I think his changeup's better than Miz's. Maybe not the fastball, but I like what Burns is starting to become. McLean's still above those guys. Do you think you can throw the Amai slider? I probably could have, but I don't really know how to do that. I don't really know how to do that. I know Driveline dove in a little bit on what they think the ball flight looks like, which is intriguing. But yeah, maybe somebody will, reverse engineer it and actually be able to throw it. Are all the Lighters related? Yes. Mark Leiter Sr. is the brother of Al Leiter. Those guys were both big leaguers, so then they have cousins that are in the big leagues together. Jack Leiter, son of Al, Mark Leiter Jr., son of Mark Leiter. So sometimes it's just like that institutional knowledge really helps push you over, or it's just the inspiration of seeing success in front of you and knowing it's achievable. I think is a big part of it. All right, we got to move on to other games. We've got an hour in. We've watched almost an hour in. We've watched a Brawl and some Yankees stuff. So next up, I want to watch Sandy because Sandy had a shot at another immaculate Maddox game, another Maddox, and he ends up not getting it. And on top of that, they lose the game. He ends up with 95 pitches, 8 1/3, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Now he's got a .74 ERA on the season. It was a combination of Bender and Foucher that struggled in this one for the Marlins. Let's see if it was more of the same approach from Sandy. He did get a lot of righties in this game, which is strange. 26 fastballs, 25 changeups, 25 sinkers. Yep, that's his main game. 9 sliders, 7 cutters, 3 sweepers, 77 first pitch strikes, 55% zone rate, 71% strikes overall. This is what he does. He just absolutely bullies you in the zone, and a lot of times it really works out. You're looking at pitches per inning, 6, 10, 8, 8, 15, 12, 13, 11, and that's second start in a row. So obviously I'm huge on Sandy, but we're starting to see some guys go deeper in the game. Are you guys noticing that a little bit? Soriano 8 innings the other day. Obviously Sandy's had a couple good ones. There's been a couple 7, 8, 9 inning performances in the early going. I wonder if this is going to become more of a thing moving forward. You know, more of a consistent thing, because some of these starters, because their mixes have grown, they're going to be allowed analytically to go a little deeper if they have low pitch counts. So who was it? Miami and Cincy. All right, Sandy. We'll watch the whole game pretty quick, and then I'll watch every pitch of the ninth because I'm curious. I know he had some comments about being frustrated that he didn't get at least asked how he felt, as he wanted to complete this thing. All right, fly out there. Ground out here. Also, interesting that the Reds actually went heavier on the righties in this game. So we just watched him throw the Maddox versus a lineup full of lefties. And now this lineup's got a lot more righties. So yeah, quick first inning. Fly out and 2 ground outs. Second inning. Sal Stewart, he's going to rush that sinker in on him there. Pop him up. Here comes Slater. Nice play there. Here's a 3-pitch strikeout. This is going to be looking 99 to Gino. Oh, baby, that's a stupid pitch. Yowzers. 20 inches to the right and 15. I mean, this is a scary fastball. Nasty. Although Augustine would like to. We're gonna get to Paul next. I'm curious about it. He looks different to me a little bit, so I'm curious. I might watch every one of his pitches today when we get there. All right, we're still on Sandy though. In play out, so 6 up, 6 down to start the game. Him and Schlittler have a lot in common now with the multiple fastball approach. Now Sandy's got a much better changeup, and that's part of his thing. But you know, the 4-seam, the 2-seam variations, the pounding the zone nature of what they do. Very similar. They have something in common, I would say. Both tall. This is a great right-on-right changeup location here. Haven't watched 31 Meows. Haven't watched Miz yet, considering watching him on the tail end of this stream. I can give you my opinion on that at that point. Should have bet Sandy over 200 innings pitched this year. Yeah, it feels like a lock right now, right? How much command and make up for mediocre stuff? Well, it's an absolute must if you have mediocre stuff, and it will make up for it to some extent. That being said, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys that that anybody can pitch in the big leagues with shitty stuff and great command. You still have to have a certain prerequisite of stuff. But if you want to last a long time in the big leagues, you better figure out the command and the strategies and that sort of stuff. You know, that's only going to help you. All these other layers are still important, but obviously you need to have great stuff. Here's another ground out. What makes Sandy even better is the fact that he's a bulldog who never wants to give up the ball. Rarity in today's game. I mean, he's just decided that he's going to be this guy who's pitching a ton of innings. Like, he's just made that determination. Like, he's not going to be afraid of contact. He's going to go right at everybody. It's a very aggro alpha type approach, but I love it. I love it. Just blows up Gino here. They let it drop to get the base runner that they want on. Yeah, let Gino run instead of, I guess it was probably, who was it, Ellie? All right, change up here to Steer. Strikeout, dirty, really good location below the zone. And he just gets you so into swing mode because you know he's gonna pound strikes. So now we have a couple entrants in my mind on the if the team falls out of contention trade market big time in Jose Soriano and Sandy in the starting market. I think both of those guys would be very attractive. Sandy obviously has less control, but he's got pretty dang good track record. Noel V. Marti ground out. And you see most of these pitch counts in these at-bats are very low. Mostly 2 or 3. Wow, that's a hit. Jesus. Mostly 2 or 3 pitches. Gonna get a double play here? Line out. You know a double play's coming at some point, right? Friedel, change up. Oh, popped it up.
Popped him up. Behind third.
Another 3-pitch at bat. This one's 6. Gonna end it on a changeup to Matt McLean.
Now 2-2.
Chopper, here comes. Scoop it. Ooh, Sanoa, nice play. Way to come get that. This is good if you're a third baseman, if you're a kid. You see this ball's chopped up in the air. You have 2 options. Beat it before it bounces, get to the short hop, but absolutely do not wait back here too much because it will get you on the in-between hop, and then you're going to have to rush your throw. So the fact that he busted to get to that play, to get to that ball, made him make that play. All right, where are we at now? We're in the 7th. 3-1 sinker ball. So a leadoff walk in the 7th. That's, as far as I know, that's the first walk. Here's a changeup strikeout to South Stewart. That's so dirty. And, like, really, nothing bad's going to happen with this location. You got 3 outcomes when you throw a changeup in this location, right on right. Swing and miss, foul ball, ground ball. They're all fine. So this is a great pitch. You're not going to give up damage on a pitch like that. Dirty. All right, in play outs. First pitch sinker here to Suarez. Little looper. He thought about letting that drop again. And then another 3-pitch at bat here. So he gets through the 7th very efficiently as well. Ooh, this ball's actually hit decent. This might be one of the only balls that was actually hit decent. Oh, not hard enough, though. Got jammed a little bit. 91-9. All right, to the 8th. Strikeout on a changeup. Another right-on-right changeup. Oh, yep. Can't hold up. You're out. 1 pitch out here. Noel V. Marte. Ground ball to second. And another out here on a sinker. So the sinker really played well in this game. He got a ton of outs on sinkers. It's also fun to play defense behind guys like this. They kind of keep you. They kind of keep you engaged. You know, because the pitcher's working so fast and keeping you on your toes. All right, let's watch the entire 9th inning. Let's see what happened here. All right, comes out for the 9th. 3 base runners to this point. First pitch, changeup, strike. Second pitch, fastball, fly out to left. 1 out in the 9th.
2 pitches and 1 out here in the 9th.
Next batter, Matt McLean. First pitch, slider, ball. Second pitch, fastball, ball. Third pitch, sinker. Strike, okay. Questionable strike, gets it. And then another sinker. So he got to 2 strikes on this batter. That's a great pitch. Probably change up off that. Yep. Let's see the location. Okay, that's the same location I said nothing bad would happen, so I have to give tons of credit to McLean for hitting that, because that's a great pitch, and the pitch makes sense off of the foul ball, off his own foot on the fastball. So this is a good pitch, better swing. That happens sometimes. Good pitch, better swing. Credit to McLean. He's got under that, somehow kept that fair. All right, so 1 batter on, tying run at the plate. Next batter is Ellie De La Cruz. Sinker. So this is still 98. 2-0. Sinker strike. Changeup. And then a walk here on a changeup. So decided to pitch around him a little bit. That's probably the one guy he feels in the lineup that can definitely take him deep. But now we have first and second, and that's it. They take him out of the game right there at 95 pitches with Sal Stewart coming up. Now, Sal Stewart's previous 2 at-bats, we just watched them. He flew out, got jammed on a slider. He got jammed on a sinker here for a fly out. And then he singled on a cutter. But that's just really a ground ball. Those were the 2 at-bats, and then he also struck out on the changeup. This was that perfect changeup I talked about. So 1 for 3. But Sandy definitely ahead of him. I think I would have trusted him to at least face Sal Stewart a 4th time. Especially because he's a double play candidate. To me, I don't think I would have pulled him out of there. Will Benson's the next batter. Well, I think he ended up pinch hitting for somebody. Maybe Steer. So it would have been righty-righty. Stewart, Steer, and Steer was over. I think I would have left Sandy in. I'm a little confused about why they did that. And I don't like the fact that they didn't talk to him. So let's see what happened. Bender comes in to face Sal Stewart. Somehow the runners moved up to second and third.
Fly ball to right.
But if you're pitching, this is a good outcome. You don't care about the run that much. You got the out. That's the most important thing. And now you're 1 out away from winning the game. Next batter. Don't give in here makes sense too. 3-2 sweeper. It's actually a great take by Gino. So I'm okay with Bender still.
Pitch number 9 to Steer, who's seeing it well.
And then what happened? Was there somehow they scored a run right here on a wild pitch or something? Let's see.
That one popped out.
Oh wow! And that's just great base running by Ellie De La Cruz. He needed an opportunity to score. This is not much of one. So I'll give a lot of credit to Ellie for sprinting home on this. Let's see him on the high home. How aggressive is he from third? That's just pure speed. Pure speed on that. Honestly, I mean, what do we got on the catcher's block here? So I'm not big on the one knee down in this spot. What's the most important thing right now? Is it framing in this moment, or is it keeping the guy on third who's freaking Ellie De La Cruz from scoring? To me, it's keeping the man on third who's Ellie De La Cruz from scoring. So I need you to get into double, 2 legs, 2 knees up, whatever you got to do to be able to block. He tries to pick this ball, no? Yeah, he tries to pick it, and that's why he ends up deflecting it forward, and then the run scores. If you keep this ball right in front, the runner can't score. So I'm a little bummed on that. Sucks for the Marlins. They end up losing because of all that. McClain comes up with a big double here later.
Weak ground ball getting out at the plate. Not that.
This was a huge double in this game.
Deep to left. And it's off the wall.
So good job by the Reds to hang with him, almost getting a Maddox thrown against them and then coming back to win. But I'm on team Sandy with this one. I would have given him a chance to finish it out. I love the matchup versus Stewart and Steer if he would have got that. So to me, I'm on team Sandy with this one. Why don't you at least have a conversation with him? He's your ace. But that's not what ended up happening. I am in no contention. I have no issue selling the farm to get him. Yeah, Sandy just has less control than a guy like Soriano, but both of those guys will be very desired. What contender would benefit the most for trading from Sandy? Well, it's got to be one of the teams like that has some injury problems. So Braves, Blue Jays, Red Sox right now, their pitching hasn't been as great as they thought. I don't think it makes much sense for the Yanks or the Dodgers. I mean, shit, imagine him in Detroit, though. Detroit, Framber, Skubal, Sandy. Now you're talking World Series contender. That would be interesting. AO solve a friendly dispute. Friend of mine says Greg Maddux never gets to MLB today because of his velo. He threw harder than people think when he was younger. He was up to 95, and I think Greg Maddux would have made it into today's game, and I think he'd be good still. But you're talking about literally a god of pitching. So he would have figured it out because he's a god. Sandy, you are a Toronto Blue Jay. We love the durable innings eaters. Greg Maddux' bigger problem would have been ABS. So his zone was massive back in the day, east-west, and they took huge advantage of that. But I mean, you know, I'm never going to bet against Greg Maddux. That's for sure. I would have stayed with him. I would have stayed with him there. Yeah. Sandy almost never throws a non-competitive pitch. Reminds me of Kershaw in his prime. Very true. Everything around the zone. And why that's so important for pitching innings is like there's a trust factor there with the hitter. All of a sudden the hitter's like, I have to swing or I'm going to be down 0-2 so fast. So then they start swinging at borderline 0-0 pitches and they get themselves out a lot. This is what Logan Webb does. This is what Schlittler is looking to lean into. This is what Sandy does. So, you know, when we were talking about McClain before, McClain has a little bit of that built in, but he has so much movement that sometimes the standing there approach leads to ball 1, ball 2, ball 3, and gives them a chance. So anyway, Are the Marlins doing pitch limit like last year? I don't know. Maybe. That could be part of it. Third to home is like 3 strides for him. Pitcher couldn't get off the mound quick enough. I mean, that's just great anticipation. He knows that his legs could win him the ball game, and honestly, they did. They did win him the ball game. As soon as the catcher came forward, Ellie was always going to beat the pitcher to the plate. Yes. What's your thoughts on when a team has to decide on trading a young player, deciding to build around him long term? Soriano, not a perfect example, but in a case like that, I mean, part of it is like, can you extend him for the team friendly rate that you want to pay? Part of me is just like, how much do you believe in your farm system and the next wave of players? Like, you have to be a little bit timeline focused in your mind. I think if you're running the team, you have to understand, be realistic with your chances year to year. And that kind of informs a lot of those decisions, but also a lot of it's about makeup. Is this a guy I can trust with money if I pay him an extension? Is this a guy that I want around? Is he becoming a winning part of the culture here? Or is this a guy that's like very talented, but I'm not sure that he's going to necessarily drive winning, and then I might want to pull the plug. So, and we're not necessarily that they're going to sell, but that it's a possibility if they fall out of it, because the Marlins always do sell. So that's why we have to talk about it. Ooh, Patrick Sandoval making a start today for the Woo Sox. I was wondering when he was going to come back. I really was. I really was wondering that. Who turns it around quicker, Blue Jays or Red Sox? That I don't know. I think both of them will turn it around quite a bit, though. Not sure which faster. All right, next up on today's docket, I think should be Paul Skenes. Paul Skenes versus the Padres. Curious to watch his mix evolve a little bit. I'm trying to think of what all the names I sent to Zach was. Schlittler, Civale, Rosario, Soler, Lopez. So we've seen that. Sandy. Ooh, Taj Bradley is a possibility, but Skenes is definitely next. All right, so Skenes, obviously we know what happened opening day. He had an inning from hell. He bounced back with a good start in game 2. This was start 3, 6 1/3, 2 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. The only run was a solo shot. So to me, this is a Paul Skenes outing. Very normal ho-hum Paul Skenes outing last night, 6 1/3. Now let's look at the pitch mix, because this has gotten interesting. He continues to sort of morph, and there's some things that, at least my early read on him going back to WBC, is that his breaking pitches are not there right now. Very much relying on 4-seam and changeup in the early going. So let's see what we have here. All right. 35 4-seamers, 23 sinkers, but those are real sinkers, right? Yeah, 96. So that's new to rely on it that heavily. 11 sweepers, 10 changeups, 8 sliders, and only 3 splinkers. And to me, the splinker is the plus pitch. Anytime, I mean, he averaged 3 and 17 yesterday, which is disgusting. All right. 22% whiff only, so that's a little light for him, but he doesn't need it to dominate. 61% first pitch strikes, barely gets over the threshold for me. 52% zone rate is great. He got actually a chance to face more righties than usual in this game. All right, let's watch Paul. 87 pitches. I'm gonna try to watch them all, because I'm very curious about him. He's one of the most interesting pitchers, obviously, not just because he's good, but also because he can be a little bit different from start to start and still have a lot of success. So I'm gonna let this run through pretty fast here. All right, 4-seam heater down. And I've also seen somebody talking about how his arm angle has dropped a little bit over the last year or two. Not sure if that's a health-related thing or what, but it's something definitely to bear in mind. Comes out ripping fastballs here, and then right to that changeup I mentioned. He seems to be much more interested in the 4-seam and changeup game at the moment than everything else. Now, it's interesting that he loops in sinker in this game as he gets chased there. But last year and in the year before, there was times where he was heavily reliant on that splinker pitch, and there was times where he threw a lot of breaking balls. So, both of those are kind of absent in the moment. Wow, 3-0 count here. Let's see how he works back. 4-seam strike. And now here's a 3-1 sinker. It does make me worry a little bit about his health, and I don't know anything about it, but it makes me think, is there a health-related reason that he just wants to throw the pitches where he doesn't have to manipulate his like his level of supination, hold that throughout the pitch much. It's just like grip it and rip it. That would be four-seam, traditional sinker and changeup. You think about breaking balls, you have to supinate and hold a little longer. You think about a splinker, maybe the grip causes some forearm, different forearm activation. So I don't know. These are thoughts that come into my mind. I mean, there certainly hasn't been a sign of that yet. But, I mean, he's been throwing really hard now and a pretty big workload for the last few years. So nothing would be surprising to see, and maybe the arm angle drop is part of it. I don't know, but he definitely has been favoring a lot of four-seamers here in the early going, four seams and changeups. And then even the sinkers now kind of, to me, again, that kind of, I don't know, something to file away. So a good first inning, second inning. Small sample for sure, but the expected stats love him just as much this year as last year. Yeah, I mean, look, the only bad inning he had was that first inning, which really wasn't totally his fault. Bad defense. So, he's not allowing much contact. He's getting enough whiff. I wonder if what the stuff grades look like. That I'll check after this, at least from Eno a little bit, and we'll see. Eno Saris was on foul territory, I believe, yesterday or the day before, and he talked a lot about what he looks at. And we might disagree on some things, but I love listening to Eno talk about things that he looks at, and because he's digging into a lot of the data. So, stuff plus, bat speed, different things. Interesting to hear that side of things. All right, four-seam sinker. Here's a breaking ball. First breaking ball of the day. It's a sweeper. Middle. I contend he doesn't have as much feel for this pitch right now. He wasn't very competitive with them in the first two starts. This one doesn't have great action on it. It does get the strikeout, though.
His playbook is...
Here's his gyro slider.
It's pretty full, a lot of options.
Man, weird shape on that. Holy cow. 12 vert, -6. This is like a really slow cutter.
It's pretty full, a lot of options.
Really weird pitch. Four seam here.
Award winner Doug Draybeck.
Get some chase above the zone. Probably going to stick there. Didn't like that spot. Get it higher.
At any time for a strike.
Yeah, gets it higher, gets the pop out. So they read the at-bat right there. He made one mistake, got away with it, and then fixed it. Next pitch.
Early in the count,
Miguel Andujar. Sweeper, strike one. So at least he's thrown 2 sweepers for strikes so far. And now to the sinker. Good pitch. So even when he's not using everything, he always knows how to utilize what he is using. That sinker in on the righties, that's a great location. Dave Bush, who was my pitching coach in Boston, who ended up, I think he might be with the Rangers still, he had a saying called pitch to movement. So whichever direction your pitches move or are perceived to move by the batter, that's probably the part of the plate that they're going to play the best on. So if it's a riding fastball, that means the top of the zone. If it's a sweeping slider, that means the glove side part of the zone. If it's a sinking or a running fastball, that's the arm side part of the zone. Was this actually a strike? Good catch by Henry here. Ooh, it was a ball. It's something with drop, then technically the bottom of the zone. So there's a lot of truth in that. Ooh, so definitely commanding the sweeper better today. So impressed with that. That's going to be important because if I was wondering what's up with his breaking balls, but they look better. But anyway, I talk about that whole pitch to movement thing because Skenes does a great job of that. You notice his four seams are at the top a lot. His sinkers on the righties are in a lot. The changeups are down a lot. He pitches to movement very well. Here's a swinging strike, probably up fastball. Yep. See, so it's not only the pitch type and the pitch choice, but also the pitch location. Can you I saw you were a little late, Will. Thanks for coming and joining us. I know you're our resident Miami fan. Yeah, my opinion on this was I would not have taken Sandy out. You can watch it in real time. I thought he pitched kind of around Ellie in that spot, which maybe not the safest thing to do in the world. But he had Sal Stewart on deck, who he handled pretty well. I know he had one hit, but it was a ground ball. I felt like I would have kept him in. For me personally, I want to reward my starter for getting to that point in the game. He had shown no drop-off and stuff, and I think he could have wiggled through that inning, so I would have kept him in. That being said, I don't think Bender pitched particularly poorly either. So, I don't think it's the reason necessarily they lost, but I would have liked to see him go for it, obviously, and as a fan. Man, really dropping in the sweeper as well, so showing a much better feel in this in this game for the sweeper. There's a sinker in on Tatis. Good pitch. Again, pitching to movement. Very nice. Four seam here to Jackson Merrill.
Once in a while they'll drop down.
Sandy was at 95 when he got pulled, which, you know, is higher than his last outing, but it's still, I mean, I think he's built up for over 100 now. Nice play there. Nice athletic play there by Skenes. Here's Manny. Yep, Henry Davis, Fox Lane High School, Bedford, New York. Played catch with him in the pandemic. Slider ball. Sinker back door. The other thing about Paul, I love watching Skenes, is like, I do think you have to get him at the beginning of the game if you're going to get a big number off him, because he's very reminiscent of the old school guys that I played against a lot, like a guy like Mad Bum, whereas like if you didn't get him at the beginning and once he got into rhythm, it was game over. So sinker in and sinker again. He uses his misses a lot and does it beautifully. Couldn't agree more. I love the way Skenes pitches. There's a fastball he constantly throws to lefties, up and away. Why does it work? He's got a low release, so I'm sure there'll be another example of an up and away fastball to a lefty, and I'll show you. I mean, here's one even. This isn't even up and away. But, okay, so Skenes has a low release. He doesn't have a ton of VB, but it's not horrible either given his arm slot, plus he's got good velocity. So this ball upshoots. This ball upshoots a little bit. You know, it's got an interesting approach angle. And then I think also when he throws it away, especially that up and away swing through location, when he throws it here, there's even more of an upshoot factor and the ball starting like off the plate away. So there's a little bit of hesitation if that's going to come back to the zone or not. And then also naturally from a lefty, they tend to, you know, droop their barrel a little bit, and that means there's less wood the further away you get, like on the same plane, right? So you can get above the barrel actually further away more consistently, and that's why that up and away is often a swing through, especially when you have a really good four seam like Paul's. So that's the reason why that works. Change up down, strike, and change up again in play outs. Great pitch for the reach. Now, last year when I did the video on Paul facing the top 10 hitters he faced on the season, he did such a good job with lefties on pitching them down and away, particularly with splinkers and changeups and reading where they were timing-wise. And he got a lot of guys, some of the best hitters in the world. Ramirez, Perdomo, Marte. He got Soto. He got all those guys to kind of dive and pull ground balls, weak ground balls, and that's a great contact to get against an elite left-handed hitter. There's a right-on-right changeup. Here's a sweeper. That's a hell of a take by Andujar. Where was that? That was technically a strike. Holy cow. All right, 3-2 pitch. Sinker. Ooh. Ooh. That freaking hurt. Nailed the crap out of him there. All right, next batter. Don't get too comfortable for Mean. First pitch sweeper ball. Still don't think the sweeper shape's been as good this year, and this wasn't a great location of the fastball, but you know, it's bottom of the order, so he gets away with it. But he threw a lot for strikes today with the sweeper, so that was still useful. Ball there. His fastball kind of reminds of Edwin Diaz. Totally agree with that. It's that low slot, happy accident when he's late with his hand where there's that upshoot, ride, fade thing that gets up and around the barrel or scares the crap out of a righty who's going to dive. Very similar to Edwin in terms of, I would say, the combination of speed and then like the way that it's not a high IVB number, but it kind of plays well up in the zone, especially arm side. There's a walk, so gets himself in a little trouble here in the 6th. Laureano, very uncharacteristic first batter walk from Skenes. Oh, but he's going to get a double play, isn't he?
They get one. Safe.
No, just gets the one. Here's Tatis, third time facing Tatis. Ooh, slider strike. That's basically what he used his off-speed for the most part, was stealing strikes. Now he gets a sweeper, but that's driven in for a hit. First and second, one out. Jackson Merrill at the plate. There's that splitter. We hadn't seen hardly any of those. So interesting that he held them back all the way to this point. I mean, we're 76 pitches in. I believe this is the first splinker we threw. And to me, this is his best pitch. To me, at least. I mean, I would have loved to have a consistent 18-2, you know, pitch at, what is this, 93.6? This is going to be ground balls. It's going to be swing and misses. It's going to be hardly anything bad. So even though this is a ball, his pitch is dirty. All right, back to the four seam. Gets above the scoop, foul ball, probably throw that again. Ooh, gets kind of lucky there that he doesn't swing, but it's also a ball even though it was a strike. Change up, ball in dirt. And then he goes to the splitter 3-1. So he uses it as a get out of jail free. Gets that, what did I say, that reach and pull contact? Huge double play to end the sixth. This is a magic power of Skenes, and all you can see is the little shit-eating grin on his face. He knows how freaking good he is. He holds something back the whole game. The whole game he's holding it back. Gets in a 3-1 count to their three-hole hitter. Game on the line. He says, you know what? I'm going to pour in this splitter down and see if I can't get a reach, and that's what he gets. He gets a perfect reach double play. To me, this is the pitch of the night. This is pitching super advanced AP pitching here. This isn't basics anymore. This is right pitch, right time, right location to the right hitter to get out of a jam in a huge spot and not rely on all strikeout. Incredible. All right, seventh inning. He gives up a home run, I think, in this inning. First pitch out to Manny on the first pitch sinker. Now, I talked a little bit about how if you throw a ton of first pitch strikes and you constantly pound the zone, it creates a layer of trust with the opponent that they're going to want to be aggressive against you. That's what pokes its head out right here. This isn't a strike. This isn't a pitch Manny wants to swing at. This pitch is off the plate in. But he swings anyway because he thinks he's going to ambush him, and then he ends up getting out. Gets himself out by swinging at a bad pitch. What do we love the most as pitchers? One pitch outs. It's the best. Fly ball to center, you're out. All right. Xander Bogaerts. I think Xander might be the one that clips him. Sinker strike. Four seam coming here. Off away. It's funny, he's not sitting 100 right now, but everything still feels so fast. He has above average extension. It just feels fast. All right, 1-2 count, sweeper, good take. And then here's the home run. Where's the location? Up in, not a horrible location, but this is one of Xander's superpowers when he's right, is he's incredibly quick inside. And sometimes he does some things at the plate that frankly just confuse you on a scouting report, but 105.3 at 26 beats him to the spot for the solo shot. This is the only run Paul allows on the game, and I guess the issue is it doesn't get quite high enough, but really just got to give the hitter credit. Great swing, beats him to a spot, up and in fastball, 96. So just way to be on time for that. Great freaking swing. And that's it. They take him out after that. So Skenes looks good. I don't really know necessarily what to make of the velocity stuff yet. Let's see. He's averaging 97.3 on the fastball after yesterday. Last season, he averaged 98.2. So 1 mile an hour down from last year in the early going. In terms of pitch mix changes, last year, looks like that sweeper was the second most used pitch. Right now, that's the fourth most used pitch. So he's going fastball, sinker, changeup as the primaries right now, early on in this season. Obviously, last year, fastball, sweeper, splinker, then changeup and sinker. So he's switched it around a little bit, but it's one of the things that's so cool about him is there's no one way he pitches. And I think he's really fun to look at. Now, let's do a quick look at the Fangraph Stuff Plus on the two guys I just watched, because I'm curious what the Stuff Plus metrics are saying about Skenes from year over year as well as Sandy. Has him down a little bit on the overall number. He's at 104 on Eno's Stuff Plus right now. What does he have coming down? A little bit of a down on sinker and four seam, as well as that splitter, which I think is a great pitch, but Stuff Plus seems to hate it. It really has him down across the board on everything. So interesting to note that. Take it with a grain of salt. And then Sandy. Just curious on this one too. I should have done this earlier, but has Sandy down a touch, but up on his sinker. Better sinker than before. A little worse on the four seam. Giving a bonus on the location so far in the early going. All right, take that with a grain of salt. I was curious about that. It's hard for him to throw one of these, Joao, because the arm angle, you know, when you're over here, like, it's just hard to put pure gyro. To like put pure gyro, you want to come down through the ball so you can get it here. When you're over here, it's just a little bit harder to do to create that same thing. But I agree with you. If he had something with pure billet, he would have been sick. Why does everyone have hoodies on? Because it was cold. How about a Peralta breakdown? Yeah, we can maybe get to that in a little bit. I know I want to watch Yamamoto and then maybe Peralta. There was some other stuff here that I already forgot about. Do you want to watch Griffin's at bats? Sure. All right. I'm down with that. Connor got 4 ABs first, and he's getting a matchup versus Nick Pivetta. So we noticed in the yesterday's stream that, or 2 days ago, or whenever it was, that they pitched him in, and we thought that was the first trend that we saw. You see right here, catcher set up in on the first pitch fastball, but this ball clearly cuts. Ball's -3, and it cuts back to up away. I've talked about Pivetta's fastball a little bit in the past and how special it is in terms of inches of drop. So anytime you get on top of a Pivetta fastball, especially at the top of the zone, it's pretty impressive. All right, fly out there, second at bat. Going to start him with the sinker in. So this seems to be what the Padres at least are trying. They want to pitch him in. Sinker in, strike, fastball in, ball. Cutter now away. Good pass at it, but he's under it. And then curveball. And Pivetta's also got a tremendous curveball. Little rollover. Manny's trying to come get him, but Connor beats it out. So this is another thing about being a 5-tool player. Like this is underrated because, look, everybody's going to roll balls over it. Sometimes hitting's really hard. But if you're fast, if you're a Jackrabbit, if you're a Bobby Witt, if you're a Connor Griffin, if you're a Mike Trout, you're going to get extra hits like this. So this is what speed does. Extra hits. So infield hit. Next at bat, first pitch out to Wandy on a changeup. Ooh, that was hit hard. He just happens to hit it right to Manny, and it is a double play. 106, so good contact on that. And then the last at bat, also left on left versus Morejon. Now, this is one of the best pitchers in the game. 100-mile-an-hour sinker in, first pitch. So what can you do about that? Nothing. Pickoff attempt, whatever. Next pitch, sinker. They're going to go in again with it, I'm guessing. Yep. Misses up and away. So 1-1 count, fastball, and another sinker. Hey, but they miss and he makes them pay. That's what you need somebody to do. That's what the great hitters do. Great swing here. Line drive. How hard he hit this one? 113. So this is all going to be part of what makes him special. So look, if he's going to dot you with 100 in here, it's going to be hard to hit it. It's going to be hard to hit it. It's fast. It's a really good pitch. But that's not necessarily your goal. Your goal is to make sure that when they miss over the plate, you're on time. And that's what Griffin is. This is a 99-mile-an-hour sinker from a great pitcher. Any way you want to slice it, that's a great swing. He stays level through it. Laser beam up the middle. 2-run RBI. So pretty good day at the plate. Infield hit, hard hit ball to third. And then that, which was really nice. 113 at 6. Let's watch the swing from the side. Part of the reason why I like him is it's so simple. Hard to teach that efficient of a swing if you're not a great athlete, but he certainly is a great athlete. Wham! And he's making them better already. So line drive up the middle. Big time swing there. Morejon is just a dog. There's no pitcher I can think of that I'd rather bring into a jam. He is a dog. He's, fireman on that team. He's one of the best. And this cone thing is great that they're doing. So it's giving him a little early juice. Gimmicks play in the big leagues. So they got a good one going. I didn't see the game last night. I only looked at the box. What happened to Morejon? I have to use the restroom for a minute, but it looks like from just without having watched a lot of it, strikeout, single, fielder's choice, single. I mean, got singled to death. So let's watch all the singles.
Bouncer the other way.
That's a single, but really that's a bad play. This is going to be a single by O'Hearn.
The other way.
Blocks it off to left. Baseball's hard. This is a single. Nick York. Oh my God. Bad defense on 2 of these, so I can't blame Morihone on either of those. This is an in-play runs. Another unfortunate incident. My God. And then this is another in-play runs. One thing I like about some of these Pirates guys they did pick up, including this guy at the plate right here, Jake Mangum, they're going to put it in play. They're going to be able to compete against some of the late inning guys. And then here's the Connor Griffin hit. So, man, he just got victimized by a bunch of singles. Only 2 of them look pretty legit, though, to answer you. Johan Oviedo has a flexor strain, but shut down for 6 weeks. It looked like he did from watching him. He usually had big velo, and he didn't have it the last few games. You would rather bring in Bender than Sandy? Oh, you mean like as a fireman? I mean, Cruz is a pretty good fireman. Varland's a pretty good fireman. They exist throughout the league. Morihone's pretty good, though. Was watching the game. Morihone got hit for 4 runs because of a misplay and an error when it should have been 0. Yeah, I mean, 2 of those balls should have been played, and a bunch of them were just kind of like the hitter got beat and got a lucky outcome. So, little home cooking from the scorekeeper. Sucks for him, though. That's 4 Ernies. You're going to have to grind for that. All right, guys, I'm going to take a 2-second break to pee, and then we'll come back and watch some more baseball here. So, stay with me here on Baseball and Coffee. Okay, we are back. Let's see what, yeah, the Bogarts, I mean, that should have been, how's that a hit? That was a brutal call. Brutal call. Oh, good morning, Phil. Welcome in. Welcome in. All right, a couple more pitchers I wanted to hit on the stream today. There's been a request for Peralta, so I think I'll do him next, knowing that I have a lot of Mets fans. And then we'll do Yamamoto, and then maybe even Kyle Freeland if I can fit him in. Who else did I have on the list? Oh, Taj Bradley kind of deserves it. All right, let's look at let's see what we got here. Bender has like a career average versus righty of 184. I don't hate the move at all. It was Yuri junk. They would praise it even if it didn't go in their favor, which it did. Like I don't think that Bender pitched poorly and it wasn't his fault. I just for me it's like, I don't know, I would have liked to give Sandy the option. That's all. So I thought he looked good against Sal Stewart personally. So I agree with you there, Will, the Heat fan. All right, we're gonna go look at the Mets yesterday. Obviously, I didn't watch really much baseball at all. I went to dinner last night, so I was aware of what was going on, but I didn't watch a whole lot. Mets versus D-backs. Peralta ends up going 4 2/3, 3 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, 101 pitches. I think Brazaban might have allowed some of his runs to score. The rest of the bullpen was great. Garcia 2 scoreless, Brooksy 1, Devin 1, Weaver 1. On the other side, Gallen was a little better than Peralta technically. Thompson, Murillo, Lasagna, Ginkel, Sewald. Oh, Paul Sewald wanted to give it up against the Mets. I'm sure that the Mets enjoyed that one quite a bit. All right. Diamondbacks, Mets. And Peralta. Once he starts giving up runs, I'll go pitch by pitch. But at the beginning, I'll kind of go through it. All right, Ketel Marte.
3-2 coming. And it's lined in the center field, and Marte.
Base hit. Here's a strikeout on a curveball of Corbin Carroll. Nice pitch there. I love the contrast between Freddy's fastball, how that feels, and then the fact that he has the really good changeup and the really good curveball. All right, here's that four seam to Perdomo. Flies it out to Robert. It was also pretty dang cold in New York yesterday. They moved this game up because of that. There's a walk. And now he's going to get an out here. Gets that little reach. Semyon is there. First inning is scoreless. Second inning, Nolan. Fastball. Ooh, Nolan likes them inside, but doesn't get to that one quite enough. Ooh, I didn't know Nolan was in town. I should go see him. Fly out there. Didn't even think about it. In play, no out. 0-2 changeup. Holy cow, how's this not an out? Oh, Lindor, error. Yeah, I kind of misplayed that ball. And then a walk here. In play out here, Jorge Barrosa, changeup. Ooh, he goes for the bunt. Alvy's on it, takes the out. I like Vientos over at first. So there's 2 on, 2 out. And he's going to get a strikeout here to end the second. So pitches around a little issue in the second with the Lindor error. Setting that up. Nice changeup. His changeup's so good. Let's watch this whole at-bat versus Ketel Marte. This is a tough matchup. First pitch, curveball. Down. Four-seam ball. Carl, it looks like to me like he just ran into some deep counts, you know, a lot of nibbling, got into some trouble, and I think, you know, the way that you're going to go deep is by being able to be just in the strike zone and get some quick outs. But if you get in trouble every inning, like your pitch count's going to go up. Curveball there, and then he goes changeup off of that. It's just a dirty changeup because that's in zone. I've always liked right on left changeup to Marte. I've even got him out with that a few times. So good pitch there. All right, third inning. Changeup to Corbin Carroll. A fly out. Is that Benjamin left? Yep. Laz looks cold. Curveball to Perdomo. Reach and poke to Semyon. So 1, 2, 3, third. That ball's hit hard. 102. 1, 2, 3, third. Fourth inning. Going to start it off with a strikeout of Del Castillo. Adrian Del Castillo. Nice pitch there. Peralta has a delivery that I would never teach. I don't think. It would have to naturally be your delivery. But nice play by Bo with the long throw. But, and we'll look at it in a minute, but it is super effective, and I think because he has enough velocity with it being weird and it's deceptive. But you're talking about a very odd delivery from Peralta.
Almost every day.
In play, no out. Ooh, they go for the 2-out bunt attempt. Oh, would have had him, but Mark messes up the catch. And then he'll get through the fourth scoreless here.
And he popped it up. Third base side, Bichette into foul ground. Sign retired.
All right, fifth inning starts off with a strikeout of the curveball. He's done some really good things with that curveball in this start. Gotten some really ugly swings. Whoop.
Goes down swinging on the curve.
He gone. All right, this is where it starts. No, 2 outs in the fifth. He has 2 outs, nobody on in the fifth before it falls off. Ooh, front door changeup. Wonder if he had a little bit of the the City Field wind going on here, because this is insane. Tell me out of the hand this doesn't look like it's going to hit him. And it comes back. That's 20 to the right and negative. This is a silly pitch. Tough noogies for Ketel right there, though. See ya. All right, and here's where it starts to go away. So let's watch it all from here.
The reaction of the hitter freezes him. Yeah, that might have been a ball.
First pitch curveball, ball to Corbin Carroll.
But you don't want to look like you're selfish.
Next pitch curveball, strike, and a cross up of Alvy. Holy shit! But good job by the umpire to call it. Fastball away ball. All right, 4-seam again to Corbin Carroll. Slams it through the hole. Oh, and then it's a 3-2 walk to Perdomo. Just down. Doesn't get it. Wanted it, but Alvy knows that's low. Oh, he's saying, I got it. I got it. I got it. He's telling Mendy and the staff from the mound, I got it. I got it. I got it. He wanted this one. I get it. All right, next batter. Gabriel Moreno.
98th pitch of the day. And that misses outside for ball one. On the bases, Carroll at second,
Ball one, strike one. So fastball attacking him. Velo's all of a sudden back up, by the way, if you've noticed, up to 93.8 here. And then curveball hit by pitch. Oh, that's the killer. He was one pitch away the whole time from getting through 5 scoreless. And then it's just a bad rip. Probably tried to rip this too hard, left it behind. Hits Moreno. That sucks. So a walk and a hit, walk, and hit by pitch get him to the bases loaded situation, which then brings in my guy Brazaban. Let's see what happened here, because this is when they took the lead, huh? Change up, strike. Change up, swing and miss. Got to throw that again, right? Change up, ball. I'm throwing it again. They are 2. Change up again.
1-2 coming. Now back.
I'm throwing it again. This time they go fastball, called strike, overturned. Yeesh! This is a great challenge. Less than a half of a like a 20th of an inch off the plate. Great challenge, because this is when you use it. This is huge leverage. Huge leverage. So great job by Del Castillo. And then that gets him another pitch, and here comes a changeup. This one he's going to leave in the zone, I would imagine. Yep, leaves it in the zone. And he's on time for that. I actually think they had him with another fastball, but if you're going to go back to your best pitch, the changeup, which I don't have a problem with the pitch call, it's just more of the location. I mean, Alvy's got a good target. That if he starts it there, he's looking to get him here. Issue is this ball pops and comes down the middle. Poor execution and a great challenge by Del Castillo came into play there. And then the next at-bat, I think Nolan gets a big hit too, right? Sinker, strike. Wow, the wind was definitely playing. This is 29 inches. This is 29 inches. Never seen anything like it. This is 30 inches to the right. Look at this ball move. How do you give up a run with this? Holy cow. This is the nastiest movement sinker I've ever seen. Almost 30 inches on a sinker.
And Arenado takes first pitch fastball for a strike.
Yeah, Nolan's looking up at the board like, what is that? Next one, 27 inches. Ball. This one's 21 on a changeup. Strike. How did he give up a hit in this at-bat? He must have really made a mistake. Changeup here. Good take by Nolan. Changeup again. So he makes 2 changeup mistakes. Oh, and it's just going to be a little looper. Honestly, he just made the mistake of throwing his best pitches before 2 strikes and then throwing a worse one with 2 strikes. That's what got him. Sucks for Peralta, though. I thought Peralta looked pretty good, but definitely did a lot of nibbling, and that kind of hurt him in the end with the pitch count, probably. That would be my guess of how I'd break this down. Player breakdown on Mr. Freddy Peralta. 48 heaters, 26 curveballs, 20 changeups. That's what he throws. 6 sliders, 1 slow curve. I don't know what the hell that is. 38% whiff is great. 55% first pitch strike. This is probably what hurt him. Not quite enough first pitch strike. Didn't get into enough counts. Had to nibble a little bit. That cost him in the pitch counts and why he wasn't able to work his way out of it. I don't think Brazaban did anything wrong. Crap. I have parent-teacher conferences. What time? I think maybe 12:30. So I don't think there's really much to look into here. But, you know, Freddie's a very different pitcher than those 2 guys we watched earlier in Schlittler and Sandy. He's not going to pound the zone as much. He's going to nibble around the corners, and he's great at doing it. But, yeah, that's the issue. All right, we have 10 more minutes, and then I got to go. Unfortunately, to parent-teacher conferences, I just found out. So, let me get in the chat here for a minute, and then we really only have time for like a Yamamoto, or if I wanted to go Crochet or Mizraski. Not going to get to Freeland now. But I'm glad we watched that. That was interesting. How do you cross up with the pitch comm? Not sure. How often would I have used it? Not a lot. I'm too emotional, so I would have let the catcher do it. And that ABS changed that game for sure. Why don't pitchers apologize when they plunk a dude? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, because you don't want to like give an inch to the other side. You know what I mean? But sometimes you do apologize. I used to apologize sometimes. Still can't talk you into the idea of a half-inch buffer around the ABS. Nope, don't want a buffer. Check the ball for scuffs. I mean, those pitches looked fake. That's how ridiculous. That's the wind plus nastiness on top of it. I mean, almost 30 inches of movement is, I mean, it's just unheard of. Ayo, did you ever see of a pitcher taking a nail file sandpaper? No, but I know guys that used to, like, I've heard of, like, having, like, a loose piece of metal, like, on a catcher's gear and then, like, scraping that to cause a scuff. But we didn't do my generation hasn't done a lot of the scuffing of the ball. Thanks, Butch. Please come and hang out with us all the time. It'll be awesome. Is Kyle Bradish finally going to get past? If he throws some first pitch strikes, yes. Yeah, it's the first thing we did was look at the fight. Ocean View. On the beginning of the stream. Can taking Sandy out in a situation like that lose a locker room? No, I don't think so. I mean, no. I mean, not unless the player like just acts super crazy about it. I don't think they're going to lose the locker room on that. But you know, it's one of those things where we'll see how it evolves as the year goes on and what other big-time inflection points there are with decisions. All right. I don't know if I should even do another player. I really don't have a lot of time. It takes me 25 minutes to get to school. That means I have 9 minutes, plus I have to do... I also have to do a couple things, like probables or whatever. Appreciate it, Lifted. Don't worry about being in the chat. Just happy everybody's here. Obviously, I appreciate people are in the chat as well. But, you know. Joe Necro equals nail file. When I played catcher in high school, I kept a metal Mets pin on my wrist of my catcher's miss to scuff the ball. See? If you're not cheating, you're not trying. This is baseball, folks. All right, I'm sorry. Sorry, Red Sox fans. I'm not going to be able to get to both Crochet and Mizraski, so it doesn't seem worth it. I'll do Yamamoto quickly because Yamamoto is the man. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, 97 pitches. Him and Gosman had a showdown. He continues to dominate the Blue Jays. What was the mix this time? 26 splitters, 21 four seams, 18 cutters, 13 curveballs, 12 sinkers, 7 sliders. First pitch strikes, only 58%, only 21% whiff, but he's the best at managing contact and getting whiffs. He's so freaking good. Dodgers, Jays. Yamamoto, my favorite. This is probably my favorite pitcher. Earlier, somebody asked me, this is probably my favorite pitcher in the game to watch right now. I did see Schneider turn into tomato in this game as well. There's a slider. That's a pitch he didn't throw a lot last year, so I was wondering if he would come back with a little bit of a different approach versus the Jays, given they've seen him a lot. So strikes out the first 2 guys of the game. Here's a sinker, front door attempt. Gets the swing and miss of Varsho, and strikes out the side in the first. Slider to Vladdy. Safe to say he feels pretty good on this mound. All right, here's a hit from Mr. Sanchez. Ooh, very, very poor defense there by Kyle Tucker. Allows that for the double for Jesus. Ooh, Okamoto, Japanese Showdown. Sinker in. I know, sorry. Is Vesia the most underrated lefty of the last 5 years? I think Lee on the Braves. I'm with you on the second guy. But Vesia has been very, very good as well. Very, very good. Slider here to Ernie. Pops him up. The slider is interesting for Yama. He stopped throwing in Japan because of elbow pain. Okay, that is interesting to note because he's bringing it back a little bit more now, no doubt about it. Here's a strikeout on a cutter looking to end the second inning to Lucas, so he strands the runner on second. He can pitch around anything, this guy is so freaking good. Curveball here. Gets that reach that I was talking about. That's what you like versus lefties. Out there, here's a strikeout on a split to Brandon Valenzuela. Welcome to the show. Here's a splitter from Yamamoto. Take that one. And a quick out here from Springer on a sinker backdoor tapped. It's a second, so a smooth 3 innings. 1 pitch out to start the 4th. Varsho. I guarantee that's not what he wanted to swing at, but he went up there thinking I was swinging. 1 pitch, 1 out. Another out here. Splitter to Vladdy. Now, all these at-bats versus Vladdy are always super interesting. But I love his splitter versus Vladdy. Vladdy's swing does lend itself to ground balls at times. And a swinging strike 3 on a curveball of Sanchez. So a terrific first 4 innings. He's just so hard to think with, too, and he can read your swing so well. Ooh, a 3-0 swing from Okamoto. Almost pays off with a dinger, but he catches it off the end. I love the green light to swing 3-0 here by Okamoto. This is hilarious. Yama is embracing the 3 fastball approach. I'm so here for it. His slider in Japan was more of a sweeper, so maybe the gyro doesn't give him the same problems. I think he's getting better at figuring out his health, too, over time. So it's pretty amazing what him and, who's it, Yamada-san or Yada? Yada-san? Yada-sensei? I think it's Yada who's getting the job done. Splitter roll over there. So a very easy 5th inning as well. 4-seam down the middle, fly out. And then also, just don't forget this either. Good comment here, Kev. Pitchers still should have the early advantage. All right, here's where I think they get to him a little bit. 3-2 cutter, fisted over the first baseman by Jimenez. Splitter here to Valenzuela. Ooh, that's hit hard, but Freddy's right there. They're running, though, so no double play. So man on second. 1 out, back to the top of the order. Springer, 2-0 curveball. Man, stays on it nicely, takes it into the gap. Good swing there by George. Doesn't try to overswing here, drives it in the off gap for the 1 run they're going to score here. Nice job there. And then he's going to walk Varsho. So they got to him a little bit. Let's see how he works out of this. First pitch split to Vlad. I mentioned the split to Vlad I like because his swing lends itself to ground balls to some extent. So that worked nicely there, gets the chopper. And then he's going to get it out here to Sanchez on the high. Comeback sinker, jams him, rolls it over. Nice play there. Does come out for the 7th. Gives up a hit here to Okamoto. Great swing. Okamoto's a pro hitter. This guy's going to be a good player for the Jays, I think, all year. I think everybody should have been on him. Good swing there. So a little double leading off there. And then his last batter, he gives up a hit here on a bunt. Hard to... Oh, perfect bunt. So 1st and 3rd, no outs. And then I'm pretty sure they had a Noble Tiger in this inning, right? Vesia came in and shut shit down. There was a walk. Yeah, a walk. And then this is tough for Jays fans. Sorry, guys. Noble Tiger right here. 4-seam, pop up, not deep enough to score the run. Swinging strikeout on the 4-seam up here. And then a flyout. So Vesia, we mentioned him earlier on the stream. I mean, doing a great job as a fireman. So, I mean, that's massive shit. That's massive shit. That's win probability added type shit for you right there. So Yoshi was great. There should be a lot of, stuff going on. Is there a reason why more guys don't swing 3-0? They just feel like they're going to walk and they don't want to, I don't know. There's a little bit of embarrassment with getting out on 3-0, but I think 3-0 is the best hitting count in the game, and I love when guys are aggressive and take advantage of that. Part of the reason why it doesn't get punished, well, it does sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't, is because it has enough speed differential, so even when he hangs it, sometimes guys are off timing. All right, that's it on that. That was fun. We're going to do the probables now, and then I got to get off to... I really got to leave in like 2 minutes. All right, today's games. 12:35 in Pittsburgh. Michael King, Mitch Keller. Actually, this is a great matchup of 2 kind of similar pitchers. Very exciting one there. Royals, Guardians. Reagan's, Cantillo. 2 lefties in Cleveland. Brewers, Sox. Shane Drohan traded from Red Sox. 2 Brewers. Gets a start versus the Sox. This should be his debut, I think, versus Sonny Gray. Orioles, White Sox. Bradish, who we mentioned earlier on the stream, looking to dominate today versus the White Sox, and Burke. Mariners, Rangers, Wu and Gore. This is a great matchup. Classic AOS matchup. Dodgers, Jays, even better matchup. This is the matchup of the night so far. Shohei and Cease. Love this matchup. Cease's looked great in the early going. He's shut me up in a lot of ways. He's looked great. He's evolved well. Astros, Rockies, Javier Lorenzen from Coors. Watch out. Phillies, Giants, Nola Mali. Solid matchup here. Mid-rotation guys. McGreevy and Michaelis. So Michaelis gets to go up against his old team, the Cardinals. Let's see how that goes. Braves, Angels. Will there be any more fighting in this game? Holmes and Detmers. Diamondbacks and Mets. Ryan Nelson, David Peterson. That's a solid mid-rotation matchup as well. Cubs, Rays, Colin Ray, Joe Boyle. Reds, Marlins, Singer, Yuri Perez. Yuri Perez looking to have a better bounce back after his last start versus the Yanks. Speaking of the Yanks, Will Warren versus old Yankee Luis Severino. That should be fun from the stadium. Will be cold. Tigers, Twins, Framber and Bailey Ober is our last game. So Framber's look good early going for the Tigers. All right, that's it, you guys. I didn't get to watch everything I wanted to watch today. I wanted to watch some Rockies. I also wanted to watch some of that Red Sox. Didn't get to it. But that's just how it goes. I got to go do some parental responsibility here. So thanks for hanging with me today. Appreciate you guys. Everybody that's been here hanging with me the last few days should be back on tomorrow. So I'll keep you posted. We'll see an upcoming stream. And thanks for hanging with me once again. Hopefully everybody has a great Wednesday. All right. Have a great one, guys. See you later.